Welcome back, everybody. It's time for game number 2 between Newbee and Vici Gaming. I'm Gods from Beyond the Summit. Joining me once again for our second game of this best of 3 series is going to be Base Skip. It's the quarterfinals. Winner of this match goes through the semifinals versus Team Talent. Winner of that match goes through the grand finals to meet HDT Team Hyperglory Team, where ZSMJ awaits. But for now, it's game 2. Vici Gaming took game 1. Fairly interesting game, fairly slow pace, but in the end, there was some good, nice team fights, and we'll see what Newbee can do in game number 2 to turn things around. We'll hop ourselves into our draft base, Skip. What do you think so far of our game 2 draft?
I actually really like the way that RTK opened the draft here, banning out the Sand King and the Ancient Apparition, because it sort of puts it on Newbee. They already banned the Lycan because they just don't want to give that away, it seems. And then before we had the first pick, it was like, okay, well, there's Batrider, there's Ember Spirit, there's Invoker, there's Naga, there's all of these, flavor of the month. Or strong heroes on this current version, and it sort of puts it on Newbee to say, like, well, look, what are you comfortable letting us have? Because I think Vici Gaming have shown that aside from the Naga sign, they're pretty much comfortable playing anything out of those heroes. So they get the Batrider, and they almost force Newbee into taking the Invoker for themselves here. As well. So if they have some specific counterplay ready against the Invoker, be it, say, a roaming Crystal Maiden to gank him mid, they've already got the Batrider, which is pretty nice to have. They could move towards a TA maybe for mid. You can always go for a safe lane Doom. There's definitely available counterplay against the Invoker, and Vici Gaming could have already been thinking about that right from the word go, right from from the time that the Ember Spirit was banned out.
Yeah. Okay. No, I agree. I think they seem to have a clear plan in mind when they like you say, if Newbee don't take the Invoker and Vici Gaming get Invoker plus Batrider, it's like all over. But this Visage pick is really curious. Visage has kind of fallen off a little bit as far as top tier supports go, but when you're banning out the AA, the Sand King, and they ban out the Shadow Demon after picking the Visage, there's not really that many like strong supports left in the pool. Like you can pick something like a Shadow Shaman, but that's getting pretty greedy as far as having like a support Shadow Shaman when you've got no good proper lockdown. Because Invoker Mirana, there's no real reliable actual disable there.
Yeah, I don't mind the Visage pickup so much because I think it really helps to deter Newbee from going aggro. Like the way that Newbee could have taken this draft from this point is like look to pick up something like a Shadow Demon, even though it's been banned, maybe something like a Bane, and then just run the aggro tri-lane with support from the Invoker, because Invoker is normally going, against, aside from a couple of specific matchup, he does quite well in his lanes, and if you go Quasi-Exort, you can always provide that 4v3 support to the aggro tri. But picking up the Visage, I think for Vici Gaming immediately makes Newbee think twice about going aggro, because against the Visage, if the Visage is good positioning, you're pretty much always going to be trading kills. You focus someone, the Visage comes in, Soul Assumption's one of your supports down, and you just trade back and forth, and it's not really a clear win in the tri-v-tri.
With that said, very few Chinese teams are going offensive tri-lane nowadays. Like I can't remember the last offensive tri-lane I've seen out of like a Newbee or Vici Gaming or IG. I don't think DK even ran many offensive tri-lanes at Starlighter, did they, that I can recall?
They did some offensive duo lanes, things like that, but I don't think they ever were really looking to force a 3v3, which to me is like the true aggressive tri-lane. And I think a lot of that is to do with aggressive tri-lanes are a gamble, like because so much of it just comes down to execution. One positioning mistake, even from the stronger tri-lane, can mean that you just lose the tri. And then the big reason that you go aggressive tri-lane is to try and punish, greedy picks from the enemy team. It's like a Spectre or a Tiny Wisp, something like that. But there are other ways to deal with those heroes, to deal with those strategies. You can just add more push to your own lineup, so you try and sneak in underneath their timing. You can have more gank. You can just choose to have your supports, once they have a couple of levels, smoke up to the opposing safe lane and just get some kills with whatever your offlaner is there. We saw a lot of, I think, Darkseer Sand King being very successful in that regard. The Sand King solo smokes, goes up, he gets Ion Shelled, he gets surged, you kill whoever is in the lane. So, I don't know. I think it makes sense that we don't see nearly as many aggressive tri-lanes just because of the risk and other ways to handle, the reasons that you used to go aggro.
Okay, well, Newbee pick up the Vengeful Spirit, and Vici Gaming get us another support of their own in the Lion, so and like you say, like you've got a Vengeful Spirit Mirana. Sure, in theory, you can make a strong offensive tri-lane, but Lion Visage, it's a good defensive support duo. You can't really fight into a 2.5-second Hex, a Visage Soul Assumption. Combine that with like a good stable core hero for Sylar. The Weaver's still in the pool if you want something like that. It's not going to be easy to do. So I think this is where Vici Gaming, like a standard Vici Gaming draft would be picking super something like an Alchemist or a Dragon Knight for mid lane, and then picking some kind of like a Weaver slash Lone Druid type character for Sylar here if Vici Gaming want to go kind of their cookie cutter strategy. But they have to worry a bit about what Newbee's doing here, because they've got a lot of aggressive killing power, and they're going to make it even more now. The Enchantress Vengeful Spirit are going to be their roaming support duo. They've got Invoker who can go for the Exort build and have Sunstrikes flying around the map. This is going to be potentially tricky to deal with.
Yeah, and I think with that Enchantress pickup, we're probably not going to be seeing an aggro try from Newbee. I think up until that pick, there was a chance of them maybe trying for it, just because Visage and Lion are pretty greedy as far as supports are concerned. Like, Lion's not the best tri-lane versus tri-lane, and they both really want some levels. So if you go aggro, you can just pin the Lion down in the lane and make sure that he doesn't get too much out. But to have done that, I think they would have had to go, say, like a Lone Druid or a Weaver in the spot where they picked the Enchantress. Just something that can do all right in the 1v1 against the Batrider, because that's the one 1v1 matchup up on that top lane that they didn't really have an answer for just yet. So it looks like it is just probably going to be defensive with a lot of roaming from them. And that does free up the Lion to go for some solo roaming and whatnot of his own. Maybe try and get some ganks down on the Invokers. So lots of pressure on the supports in the early game here, I think.
All right. Well, we'll see what Vici Gaming's last pick for mid lane is. I feel like the Newbee ban up the TA, but I feel like Vici Gaming really need like another good kind of just durable tempo controller type. Like the Dragon Knight really fits their play well, and they also love their Alchemist mid, especially on the Radiant side where you can stack Ancients quite easily just from the mid lane throwing down the acid there. Radiant side Alchemist is pretty powerful and a bit prone to getting ganked out by the Vengeful Spirit Enchantress. It's where maybe they want a mid hero who can avoid these VS Enchantress ganks at least a little bit better. Something along the lines more of like a Puck if they want to go for the solo mid Puck.
Yeah, you mentioned the DK and the Alk, and I think the Alk is definitely a pretty strong option here, because while it does, naturally you think, okay, the Alk is a little bit susceptible to ganks, but the thing with how you play solo mid Alk is you acid spray the wave, it pushes out, and then as soon as the wave dies, you just go and sit by your tower until the next wave turns up. So yes, you can be often pushed out a little bit, but I think good positioning can prevail. And Newbee actually go for the Lone Druid here. So maybe they're still considering trying to cobble together something aggressive, leave the Lone Druid to 1v1 against the Bat.
Yeah. I think they're kind of flexible in this, in that they can essentially have like a 3 solo lane, and the VS Enchantress just gank whichever lane they deem as the easiest lane to gank slash the lane where they can have the highest impact. So I think you look at the Venge Enchantress, and they're not going to commit to like offensive tri-laning or safe lane tri-laning. It's just going to be a very flexible support duo that can help out where they feel they can do most.
Yeah, it's 1-1-1 roaming duo as opposed to 1-1-3.
So Vici Gaming will see this. I wonder what their response is going to be as far as the push coming in. And I do go for the Alchemist. Acid Spray going to be really useful at stopping any sort of a push, and that's something, this is like a Vici Gaming special, the solo mid Alchemist.
Yeah. It's way better against the Invoker than the Dragon Knight as well, I think.
Yeah.
Like the DK suffers quite a bit more. Yeah.
I wonder, this almost looks like we may see a Quas Wex Invoker, because I feel like that's one thing Newbee do lack, is just general teamfight crowd control. So I think maybe we look at a Quas Wex Invoker rather than the Exort here. Sure, they want to get aggressive with the Venge the Enchantress, and Sunstrikes can add on to that, but when it comes to the mid-game pushes and team fights, I mean, pushes, obviously Exort's better for the pure damage output, but Quas Wex could be nice for actually zoning out a lot of these heroes and preventing them from engaging.
Yeah, it's really nice against the Luna and the Alchemist up until the point where they get their BKBs. So yeah, could definitely see a Quas Wex build out of Mu here.
All right.
The trend recently has been like pretty much nothing but Quas Exort from what I've seen, though. Like even Resolution, who to me was like the one person who was really championing Quas Wex at the start of this version, has started playing pretty much exclusively QE. So, but it just goes to show that you can pretty much play QE every single game and get away with it. Even though I agree that there are definitely some situations where Quas Wex can be a little bit stronger.
Yeah. QE is never bad build, whereas I feel like there's situations where a Quas-Wex build can be bad. If you don't have any damage output on the rest of your team, like, or you just have like you have a safe lane hero like a Slardar or something that's not like a true carry, you almost have to go Exort build, I feel. Like, I feel like there's some situations where you cannot go Quas-Wex, but I mean, Quas-Wex you can still get killing power, like if you go for like the Ghost Walk Orchid type build, but it's still very kind of a niche thing to be doing.
Yeah. The thing with the Quas-Wex as well is that it's a much more it's a build that's like your late game impact is a lot more determined by how your early to mid game pans out, because you typically don't really see Midas on Quas-Wex, so you don't really have the opportunity to say, okay, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna farm and I'm gonna pressure lanes and I'm still gonna get my hex and get my items that I need to be relevant. Like game, it's so much more about going like 4-1-4 at 25 minutes, something like that, having a big impact and getting your levels in farm by moving around the map. And well, Mo looks like he's just going to be going Quas-Exort here. Could still transition back to Quas-Wex, but very few players do the casual Exort point and then transition to QW.
I saw this once, and it was in the Korean scene, so that's that. That's the Korean scene. I wasn't going anywhere beyond that.
Shots fired, guys. Shots fired at the Korean scene all day.
It's too easy. I don't know.
What, the Korean scene is too easy, or firing shots at the Korean scene is too easy, guys?
Both, basically, both.
Oh man, I hope none of the Zephyr boys are listening in.
I try to hold back, but I can't resist.
You can't contain the flame. Guys.
They know I love. Well, see, the way I whenever I talk about Zephyr, I'm like, look, they're not actually a Korean team. I guess they are a part of the Korean scene, but then I don't look at them as a Korean team.
I just love the Team Liquid interview where they're like, well, look, Corey has learned how to read the Korean alphabet, and Blitz speaks a little bit, so the grand total of their team is like one Korean person, half on Blitz and half on Corey.
Yeah, and Blitz, I mean, looks a little Korean at times when he's
he
not
looks-
eating
he
fried
looks pretty
chicken, but we'll get
Anyway.
ourselves into our game here. This is game
Yep.
2. Vici Gaming lead things 1-0 against Newbee, and they're playing over on the Radiant side here, looking at 2-0 their opponents. We've got ROTK playing the offlane Batrider, one of his signature heroes. FY, what is this Lion Cloak? He's playing the Lion? It's a spiffy-looking Voldemort cape he's got going on there. And then the mid lane's going to be Super on the Alchemist. Safe lane is going to be Fenrir on the Visage, and finally the carry Luna being played by Sylar.
Yeah, and meanwhile, a little bit of harassment coming out from Newbee as FY tried to get a D-ward off, and looks like they're actually going to D-ward his D-ward, so that's not so much fun for him. But Newbee, we've got Fish or How handling the Lone Druid. We've got King J on the Vengeful Spirit, Banana again on his Enchantress. Moo's going to be heading towards mid on the Quas-Exort Invoker, and finally, handling the offlane, we have Xiao 8 on the Mirana.
So, yeah, Mirana getting completely zoned out for now. No experience going her way. The big thing's going to be Newbee's 2 supports. They both got a starting smoke, so 2 smokes on them. I think after this, they're going straight into a smoke. They've got a Hellbear. Yep, they smoke, and they're going to head down bottom, it looks like, with the path they're taking. So, possibly looking to punish this Visage's over-aggressive harass. If you can get a Vengeful Spirit Stun into an arrow, this could be a quick and easy first blood going Newbee's way.
Yeah, I think they're trying to go for the less expected gank, because when FY was trying to de-ward them earlier, he would have seen both of their inventories and he would have seen the 2 smokes, and he probably would have called that out. So that means that Super is going to try and play as safe as he can mid lane, but ganking the opposing safe lane is a little bit less expected. So they should be able to get a kill here, hopefully.
Oh, they're going to reveal the smoke, though. The smoke, I think, expired, and they get spotted out. There's Radiant Observer Wards here, so this is not going to work out. And Super, like, he was playing kind of cautious, but he actually pushed up, like, during some of that smoke duration, so that was definitely... That's their first smoke. It gets them into the enemy jungle, but I feel like that's not really enough. They wanted to actually get kills off of this.
Radiant structures are
Yeah, it's definitely pressure, but this isn't what they want to be accomplishing with it.
And this gives Batrider a much easier time top lane. He's 1v1 against the Lone Druid, which isn't the easiest time in the world, but he can always use this neutral camp, and this neutral camp's already been stacked. Lone Druid goes in and takes 1 or 2 last hits. I think he got the level 6 Dark Troll, but Batrider can easily farm this up later on. So this is always a nice... I feel Batrider offlane 1 win against Lone Druid, he almost comes out on top because he can get such a fast Blink Dagger using the neutral pull.
Yeah, and the thing with the the bat is, well, you beat him in CS, but he's still going to get a fast blink, and that's all he wants in the game. Fenrir caught out, Sunstrike, arrow, bye-bye.
Enchantress gets the last hit. The Sunstrike not even coming into play there, unfortunately. But now Xiao Wei, he's getting returned on with the Hex Impale. Sylar wants his kill. Xiao Wei will get the leap out and does have another Lucent Beam in a couple of seconds, but it's too late. Xiao Wei already salving up and... Alchemist?
Super roamed in with a DD and just blew up the Enchantress.
Yeah, I was going to say, Enchantress is somehow dead. What? Alchemist, yeah, he came in, gets a kill, as we'll see him head back now towards the mid lane. So he's level 14, as well as the Invoker. Fairly standard start to this mid lane. Invoker actually with quite a decent CS lead, which is... I guess against the Acid Spray, you know you can always get those denies fairly reliably against Alchemist, who does struggle to impose himself on the lane with just the two armor at the moment.
Yeah, and it's kind of expected, I think, as well. Like, the Alchemist is going to get some farm, but the Invoker should definitely have the edge overall.
Jeez. Batrider is also struggling. He's on 9 CS to the 25 and 11 of the Lone Druid. Definitely a Lone Druid favored matchup as far as the CS goes, but we said before, like, Batrider, all he cares about is that fast blink. He hasn't really got a chance to just Firefly through, use the neutral camps. And the problem is now, Lone Druid's hit level 5, so you can't actually get as aggressive in the lane as you'd like, because if you get entangled, you can suddenly take a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to Firefly too aggressively and push out the wave, because that's when, if Hao controls it really nicely and keeps the wave pulled back towards the tower, then he ends up way more vulnerable to the Enchantress ganks. So I think he's pretty happy with just sitting here and struggling to get CS against the combined damage of the bear and the druid.
Oh, Super now. He's going to get kinked up in the mid lane. King J leads things off with a magic missile. Sunstrike going to be off the mark. The Cold Snap there as well. Super's got a haste rune and needs to throw the stun. Does do so. He's going to keep himself alive, just barely, but that gank did not go as well as you would have hoped. They needed to like time the Sunstrike with the magic missile plus into a Cold Snap. But, I mean, it wasn't an easy to execute gank, but it's one that you'd expect Newbee to get there, I feel.
Yeah, if it lobbed the Sunstrike right as the magic missile had landed, I think you would have got it.
Yeah.
Magic missile is actually a deceptively long stun, 1.45 seconds at level 1. Now on RTK, just gonna die top lane, gets brought down.
Oh wow. So the supports don't get the kill mid lane, but they rotate all the way top and get a kill on RTK, so they're still getting some kills going Newbee's way, but it just... And I think the big thing is with Newbee, they have all these 1v1 specialists, like Invokers dominating the CS at mid lane, Lone Druids dominating the CS at top lane. You're not expecting the Mirana to do that much in the offlane, but Mirana's still getting okay-ish levels. Level 5 already. So these two supports, even if they're not finding the kills, they're still creating space to win these 1v1 matchups, although Mu, unfortunately, he'll get ganked at mid. The Cold Snap not going to save his life as Super gets a nice little kill there on a much-needed kill there on the Invoker.
Yeah, the solo roaming line is fantastic, especially when you've got something like the Alchemist mid to be able to get the follow-up. I mean, Lion doesn't really bring all that much damage to the gank, but he's got tons and tons of lockdown, so it really lets the Alchemist open up. Oh, and Super races with the rune, but nice little deny there coming out from the Enchantress.
Alright.
Not on my watch.
Luna about to hit level 6 now, so Eclipse will come into play here at bottom lane. And so it just needs to be that little bit extra careful, but Visage and Luna don't have the actual lockdown to really kill off the Mirana. You're going to need Lion or the Alchemist there for the actual stun. I feel like this early game is slightly Newbee favored. They just seem to be getting better last hits, better laning. But once we get to the mid game and Batrider has a Blink Dagger and you get your Lion up to level 6, your Visage level 6, that's where Newbee will struggle that little bit more until they get the Radiance or whatever it may be coming out from Hao on the Lone Druid. Like, it's going to be kind of that timing battle where Vici game have the slightly stronger mid game, but Newbee, once they get these big late game items, once they get Invoker with the Necrobook start coming into play, that's when Newbee suddenly get a whole lot stronger.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think there's two very different ways for Newbee to play this, and right now they've just kind of gone for more early game centric items. One is to try and use the Enchantress, the start that the Enchantress has provided them as a springboard to get Midases and aim towards the late game and kind of minimize the impact of the Enchantress on the overall game, you know, only keeping her early game centric. And the other option is to build like Vlad's and a Maelstrom on the Lone Druid, just a straight up Necrobook, maybe a mech on the Invoker, and then just start 5-manning and close the game out with this early lead. So it'll be interesting to see which one they go for, because I think both are Both are pretty viable.
Radiant's
5
bottom
manning is
tower
maybe a
is
little
under
bit more
attack.
favored just against the Batrider. And FY, caught out, Sunstruck.
Sunstruck will hit. He's still alive now. 50 HP still left. Needs another right click now. King J, he wants to commit to this one. FY is trying to turn and get an Impale here. Should be able to do so. The Impale's there, and this will be a kill going the way of the Luna. That's
Radiant's bottom
not how
tower is
Newbee
under
saw that
attack.
one going for them. The Observer Orb was there giving Newbee the vision, but they still get punished for it.
Radiant structures are fortified.
And a concoction mid, Moose done for a really long time, but RTK couldn't get in range. Snap's gonna turn around, and looks like RTK is gonna die here.
That cold snap just cripples him there in mid lane, unfortunately. So Super, unable to do too much to help him out, but Super's farming alright now, starting to catch up. Phase, Bottle, probably going to be looking for that fast mech for his team, which he likes to go for on the Alchemist. And he's going to go, I think he was hoping for an 8-minute rune at bottom, but it's actually spawned top. Okay, I was about to say, I'm surprised no one's picked it up. We're already 8.5 minutes in. Well, 30 seconds past the actual spawn of it, but Haystring going to be seeing their top, and it looks like Vengeful Spirit, King J going to hop onto it and grab it and head towards the top jungle.
Yeah, so it looks like Newbee are going for that more 5-man oriented approach to closing out this game, and I think it's a good decision against the Batrider. If you're all just spending, if you're spending the entire game from 15 minutes onwards pretty much clumped up and forcing fights and forcing towers, then it does really minimize the pick-off power a lot. And yeah, it looks like Moose going for a mech here. I think Buckler's just about to be delivered.
King J goes through a sweep through the top lane, but Super now shows up with a stun. Not going to get too much out of this one, as Batrider's now chasing on over. He's got Firefly, 1100 gold, and just going to find the Centaur Centaur Conqueror at the Enchantresses. Not even going to get the kill on it, as he decides to back off to play things safe. So 3 kills apiece, and Vici Gaming are looking for this item timing of theirs. The Blink Dagger on the Batrider, the mech on the Alchemist, and then they can fight a whole lot better. But it does feel like Newbee just have the slightly better early game, and especially when this lone Druid, he's gone for the Midas on the Spirit Bear. You generally think Midas into Radiance, but did stop off for the Phase Boots just to help him out with the lane stage a bit more.
Yeah, I think the Phase Boots are a good decision, just to make sure that if the Batrider wants to sit in lane against you, you're making sure that he gets as little out of the lane as possible, and just adds a little bit of solo killing power as well, which How maybe lacks otherwise.
It is just Phase Boots on his hero, which is like, it does help you with your last hitting, but like, if you want to go for kills, you need them on your bear. But we'll see. We'll see if he's doing any swapping or microing it across the 2 heroes. But Newbee has got 4 heroes bottom, so this is just going to be 4 heroes apply pressure, try and bring down towers. They've got the double forward spirits in just a second, so this is like a nice little timing for Newbee. They've actually got a mech of their own coming out, and with double forward spirits plus mech, these 4 heroes can push and take fights on their own while Hal tries to farm up that Radiance. And once Hal's got his Radiance, he joins up, and Vici Gaming will really struggle to take any sort of fight. So I actually really like how Newbee are playing this game.
Yeah, and the Radiance is also a really nice pickup as far as anti-Batrider tech is concerned. I mean, the Blink Dagger, it makes it much more difficult for him to get into the fights and find the heroes that he wants if the bear is just sitting on the front lines, burning away.
Yep. Well, Bear's now swung towards mid lane. I guess not feeling that top was too safe for him. He doesn't quite know exactly what Batrider's Blink Dagger timing is, and it's coming up soon. Moonlight Shadow being proc. This was mid. Was this used? They're completely getting spotted here under the tower. It looks like Mirana going to swoop through from the side, though. Arrow not going to be thrown just yet, and T1 tower we picked up with ease. Mirana even getting the last hit, so
middle tower has
not sure the Moonlight Shadow was for, but either way, they get a T1 tower uncontested at mid, and that's the hardest tower to bring down early on in the game, and that's a nice little pickup for Newbee.
Yeah, it opens up Roshan a lot for them as well. Their lineup can pick up Roshan absolutely no problem after they win a fight or just get some more map control down. Especially as you head towards the late game. You know, we talked about the importance of the dire side last game, but if you have a Radiance up on the Spirit Bear, the Spirit Bear can just constantly be pushing top by itself, and then by burning down the waves once the towers are down, and that just means guaranteed Roshans time after time.
The one big worry for me with Newbee is these hero levels. Their supports are level 4 and level 3. This is almost similar story to last game where Banana spent a lot of time moving around the map, and he gets a couple kills here and there, but he really falls behind on farm and levels. And we're seeing a similar thing here, where both their supports under-leveled. You look at the Radiant supports, you've got level 6 on both Lion and Visage. So even though Newbee have a lead as far as farm goes, You put these two teams up against each other in a team fight, having these couple of extra ultis is going to give Vici Gaming a bit of an edge, and, well, we can see it here. They'll use the Finger of Death, they'll use the Lasso, they're going to bring down Invoker, or are they Invoker? He's still alive. The Impale will barely finish him off, but boy, do they have to work for that one. That's where having those levels really pays off. Without those levels, they do not get that kill.
Yeah, that was almost a little bit sloppy from Vici, almost letting him get away with the mech, but still managed to clean up the kill in the end.
Yeah. Vici now on the high ground. We're running into Banana here. He's got a medallion on himself, but taking quite a bit of damage. Uses the medallion offensively. Banana. That's... Oh man, those familiars with the minus armor. That's painful.
They didn't even manage to chew through all of their stacks. They've still got plenty left.
There's going to be an initiation coming mid lane. Zhao Wei going to not hit the arrow. Nicely dodged by FY, and the high ground is King J. The Sunstrike going to hit FY. Nicely played. Leap to the low ground. One or two more right clicks will finish him off. There's a shockwave. I don't think they actually landed. He gets to the high ground. Can he turn an Impale? He's not going for the Impale. He's going to run, hide in the trees, and he'll get out of this one. Trinkle Boot's still offline, but it doesn't matter. And nicely escaped by FY. The Vici Gaming playmaker, and he gets himself out of a sticky situation.
Dire's middle tower has been denied.
So it's kind of hard to say who is favored for the late game. I feel here, like Showrate's got all right farm, phase bits in Aquila. The Mu hasn't gone for a Midas, so his levels are going to be comparatively low. But the person that you're comparing him to, which is Super, just has a mech, so he's not really gone. He hasn't really gone for the farmiest build either. And the only real example of any greed that you can point to is How, and I think that this build is still absolutely fine. Midas into Radiance. I think the one big thing is that Vici Gaming do need to get quite a bit out of this BKB timing on the Luna, because it's a hero that can have a lot of farm power. You can go for early Yasha, Dominator, Midas, you know, there's so many nice farming items for the Luna, but going BKB first means that you pretty much need to get your farm out of the fights.
Yeah, the main problem is the BKB Luna's going to come up at the same time as this Radiant Spirit Bear. I don't think Silo's going to have like any opportunity where he's got BKB and there's no Radiant. So Lone Druid's going to be ready to fight more or less. And that's a really scary thought, because I don't think, as much as Vici Gaming are getting more levels and more on their supports, I don't know if they've really got an answer for this Lone Druid. That's the one thing that Newbee have just prioritized. Get this Lone Druid a ton of farm, and he's got a level advantage as well as a result of his Midas pickup. What's the answer going to be? Like, they can lasso his Spirit Bear a bit in these fights, but at the end of the day, there's other heroes they need to be dealing with as well. So it's not just going to be about this Spirit Bear.
Yeah, definitely. And Newbee head over to the pit, but Vici having none of it, they're going to make their way over here.
Oh, they use the Impale Finger. That's going to bring down the Enchantress, but still a Finger of Death just used for their support level 5 Enchantress. That's going to be a very fast respawn. If Newbee, they just keep going Roche. They say, you take that pick off. That's our Roche. Firefly's on cooldown now, and without Firefly, it's actually quite hard for Batrider to engage, so Age is picked up by the Invoker, gold going the way of Newbee, and we'll see Super now engage here. Gets a nice initiation on the Vengeful Spirit, but once again, it's just to support the Lone Druid. His bear looking for Entangle, not going to get it, does lose his bear in the end. Can resummon it, and will choose to do so right away. He's still on the run now. RTK has a blink, last one a couple seconds. Firefly now finally back up. Unfortunately, the Forward Spirit's cancelling his blink there, and making it hard for him to just keep on chasing.
So they lose 2 supports and the bear, which is last tip of the line, and they end up with the Aegis. So pretty even, but
it's like even when you look at like the raw goal, but it still feels like Newbee, the strategic importance of having an Aegis, and combined with the fact Lone Druid now is going to have a Radiance in a second. Like, I feel like those 2 kills on the supports are just so insignificant that I'd give an edge to Newbee once again there.
yeah, I think it is definitely more than more than Newbee expected Vici Gaming to get out of that. They kind of offered Roshan for the tier 1 top, and Vici Gaming still managed to secure the objective and some additional farm. So I think in terms of how that trade normally plays out, Vici Gaming come out a little bit better than you expect. But yeah, I think it still gets Newbee towards their 5-man goals pretty well. But so much of it's still going to come down to teamfight execution. Like, it's fine to say, okay, the Radiance is going to be online, the BKB is going to be online, but there's always the potential for somebody to just get swapped and exploded. There's a chance that the Visage survives the whole fight and manages to kill 3 people by himself. So there's lots of big plays to be made on either side here.
Yeah, and I mean, big plays aside, RTK needs to get some good initiations off of his Batrider. He's gone Fireflying and looking. Arad did scout him out a bit earlier on, so it looks like
Dyer's
Newbee
bottom
aren't having
tower
any of
is
this
under
one.
attack.
They may even just be happy to let the tier 1 tower go. Especially if they get a trade at top lane, and that's what they're positioning themselves for. Vengeful Spirit and Lone Druid are up there. There is a TP in from Super. He's got the
Dyer's
Acid
bottom
Spray,
tower
which he
is
should
under
just be
attack.
dropping down as soon as possible. Problem is the tower's
Radiant's
already
top
low.
tower is
Glyph
under
coming out now.
attack.
He needs extra TP
Radiant
support if they want to try and
structures
stop
are
this, but
fortified.
the fight's now at bottom lane as the tier 1 being defended, and there's your tier 1 top
Radiant's
going
top
down.
tower
Lone Druid gets
has
the last hit.
fallen.
Unstable Concoction going out. Super entangled up, but he's okay with the mech here, and Lone Druid just going to TP himself
Shadow.
the hell out of there. He wants to get back to base.
Good on. FY just got his Blink Dagger in part because he got the last hit on the bear at the pit, but he immediately walks up top lane and reveals it. So
Okay.
I don't know if Newbee caught it, but the surprise factor might be a little bit diminished. And that Lion Blink is normally like a free kill when you get it, especially at this point. 18 minutes is a very reasonable timing for, and actually a pretty fast timing for FY.
Zhao 8 continues the just casual Moonlight Shadow usages. I feel like they could have been using this ultimate to do a lot more this game. Like, that's the second one in a row where I'm just like scratching my head like, what's he actually trying to accomplish? He makes a move into like the enemy jungle by himself. Like, even if he runs into someone, he's not going to kill them, so I don't know.
Scare tactics?
Weird.
Maybe?
Yeah, maybe, yeah, you show your opponents the fact you use it and just try and prevent them from farming for like a minute or so.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The game going to continue. Similar pace to the first game, where the first 20 minutes or so is both teams just getting up their core items. Not really looking to get too aggressive finding kills, but once we hit that 20 to 30 minute mark when the teams have their core items, that's when the action unfolds.
Yeah, I think Newbee did quite well. They did quite well with their VS and their Enchantress. Comparatively, Vici Gaming, I feel, haven't gone for nearly as many pickoffs, say with the Lion and the Batrider. But I think they also realize that there's the potential for Newbee to turn some of these ganks around. And there's also targets on the enemy team where you have to bring more than just 2 heroes to get those kills. Like Lone Druid is definitely going to take a lot of power to bring down. The Invoker having a mech, and now that he has his point up in Wex as well, becomes a bit more difficult to deal with. And I think that's part of the reason why we haven't seen as much ganking from RTK and FY.
Well, smoke going to come out from Newbee now, once again. They love to just burn through these smokes as soon as they're up. They used up their early smoke so fast here. Immediate BKB from side lane. Pale going to catch all 3. That's going to cover the retreat. The swap back in going to get FY. But luckily for them, Luna gets saved. It does chew through a BKB charge, but at the end of the day, that's what the BKB is there for, to save your own life.
Yeah, but it's on cooldown for a minute now, so Newbee have a big opportunity to try and get some pushing done. There's not really anything that they're waiting around
They've
for.
still got the Aegis 2 on Moose, so I think there should be a tier 2 bottom tower. Super can try and stall it using the Acid Spray, but I don't think they defend this one. Luna's actually headed up top with a TP scroll, though, if they try and fight bottom. But Batrider's also not there. He's going to TP to the tier 3. With a lasso, if they have a lasso into an Eclipse, they can maybe defend this one. But beyond that, I just don't see them able to really keep this alive. Arrow not going to hit anyone, and this tier 2 will go down. No glyph available, and yep, Lone Druid gets the last hit.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
The Eclipse is so just not scary for Newbee at all. Oh, big Moonlight Shadow here.
Shadow usage. That's much more like it. There's your swap into Sylar, and with the BKB on cooldown, you said it. You just fight now, and Sylar's got no way out. He gets brought down. The Sunstrike being used offensively. FY cops a huge blow. He's going to almost go down. He gets kept alive by the mech from the Alchemist. Lucky they're going to lose the Familiars instead, but losing the Familiars, okay, there is a resummon. If they didn't have a resummon, that would almost be a bigger loss than the Vengeful Spirit. Luckily for Visage, you can just get them back online and should be resummoning those momentarily, but Newbee say, look, we got this Aegis, let's try and push, but Aegis is going to be expiring any second now. RTK, cold snapped up, full snaps himself out of there, but
Arrow.
he gets hit by an arrow. Oh, the Sunstrike going to come in as well. RTK is dead, he goes down. The Spirit Bear taking big damage here. They want to try and pull this one out, but they don't want to lose another Spirit Bear. They will do so. Does he have the resummon? Yeah, he's got the resummon back up. Blink Impale coming in from FY. There's no finger onto the high ground. He doesn't have the vision for it. He would have killed Zhao 8 there, but he doesn't have vision, and oh no, now we look towards Newbee just backing off here. They only have the one bear, they're also a bit low, but they get some good damage done. They get kills that just don't get exchanged, and well, really nicely played here. And this is, I believe, like a Necro 3 should be flying out soon.
Almost.
No, just Necro 2, but
Yeah, the other thing that's worth mentioning, I guess we didn't touch on, is that Eclipse is a really underwhelming spell against Newbee
yeah.
this game. Like, they have a mech, they've got Forge Spirits in every single fight. If they start anywhere near the jungle, the Enchantress is going to be bringing at least one creep along for the ride, and then there's the bear and the hero as well. So it's pretty tough for the Eclipse to really be a high value spell. And normally when you have the Luna, especially with the BKB first, you're hoping to rush in with the BKB, like blow up one of the supports with the Eclipse and then take the fight that way, but it doesn't really do a whole lot against Newbee's lineup.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what the plan's going to be as another pause coming out from Newbee. Man, Xiaoweight's all on those puppy pauses today. Been pausing all day long. But we'll see what's up. 6 kills apiece, 22 minutes in the game, and I worry for Vici Gaming. Like the Luna for them, like sure you've got Tread's BKB, but like you said, the Eclipse is not going to be much of a factor here, and Luna's going to need a long time to farm before she's anywhere near ready to fight, and she's already 5k net worth behind the Lone Druid, behind the Invoker as well on net worth. This Luna just is not a scary threat this game for Newbee, at least not for some time.
Yeah, I think Newbee, going back even a bit further back, they drafted this so nicely, because when I saw the Enchantress pick him out, I was like, okay, just defensive, just roaming, right? They don't really have to worry about a 1v1 for the bat, but they saw the opportunity to still pick up that Lone Druid late, and that was they pretty much won 2 lanes just right off the draft. The Invoker was always going to do pretty well against the Alk, and the Lone Druid is always going to do well against the Bat Rider, and then the supports managed to accomplish. Well, they put on enough pressure that Xiaowei got some really nice levels. Like, as you commented on in the early game, he was already level 5. I mean, he was keeping pace with the solo Bat Rider just because the supports were a little bit afraid to try and zone him out.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what Newbee look to do next here. Roshan will be coming up fairly soon, and the last time they took it with relative ease. I imagine that will probably be a similar case scenario for this next Roshan. Bear at top lane will get lassoed here, and this is well worth picking. He's trying to solo push using just the Radiance here, and they'll burst it down. So 300 gold going their way. The lasso a 70-second cooldown, so should be up before the next fight, and it's well worth using the lasso for that kill.
Yeah, nice to stop the non-stop Radiant split push on top lane, which, like I said, is probably what Newbee are hoping to use to try and secure Roshan for free.
Yeah,
and he's actually going to respawn in just a few seconds. This is a very fast respawn, like 10 seconds after the 8 minutes.
Yeah. Bear does... Okay, he's just resummoned now, so it's 2 minutes before his next bear comes up, and haven't seen Newbee scout this out just yet. Neither team, I believe, has the intel. Looks like Newbee going for another smoke. Is this, I think, their 5th smoke of the game or something? They've just burning through them. Necro 3 picked up by your Invoker. At the same time, a BKB purchase for Vici Gaming Super on the Alchemist, so they've got items coming their way as well. The big worry is going to be this Assault Crest timing, though, I feel. That's where Newbee can... Especially if they got an Aegis with Necro 3 on the Invoker and an Assault Crest, their high ground sieging capabilities is going to be hard to deal with for a Vici Gaming. Right now, it's just about the tier 2. This tier 2 is just melting to the summons as well as the Spirit Bear.
Yeah, and it's a 0 commitment push as well from Newbee. Like, the bear is a little bit of risk. I'll move. Nice
immediate swap. Yeah, they cancelled there. The BKB from Super in the front lines. They're going to bring down King J to start things off. There's the Eclipse you're talking about. This one actually doing decent damage, and with Lone Druid, it's a hero push to the low ground. He is invis for the time being. They're pinging him out, though. I believe they have got detection for him. Do they see him? Have they got anything? Gem gets picked up. That's the Mirana. Bit of a drive-by from Xiaowei. He recovers the gem for Newbee. Meanwhile, Lone Druid does go down, so they do get some detection. Who's actually got some... Oh, no, the Mirana ultimate, of course, wearing off eventually. So they find him out, they bring him down, and it's a good teamfight victory for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, I wonder if Mu would have gotten caught if he'd just gone straight back up the lane instead of trying to go up the hill and then follow the rest of his team out. But it still doesn't end up going too badly for them, but in theory, it should have been a clean disengage after they got the tower, but really nicely played by RTK to make something of it.
It does go to show when Vici Gaming get a good engagement, they can tear through these Newbee heroes pretty fast. Like, you get the Acid Sphere on everyone, you've got a Finger, you've got... the Eclipse was actually really nice. For some reason, like, all the summons had been used to bring down the tier 2 tower, so there was no Forge Spirit, there was no Necrobooks up, and nothing to really tank the Eclipse damage, and as a result, it actually did good hero damage, bringing down a lot of the Newbee heroes, or at least forcing the ones that didn't go down to just retreat because they were too low to stand and fight. Problem is now, next time Newbee come at Vici Gaming, it's going to be with Aegis. And I don't think there's much Vici Gaming can do to contest that, assuming Newbee play it safe.
Yeah, I think the other thing for these current fights as well is that the bear is still pretty damn squishy, especially when he's in the acid spray. But once the AC is up for the lone druid, he'll probably end up passing it over to the bear, so it'll get a little bit more survivable as a result. Yeah. He's actually carrying the plate mail on his hero right now.
Yeah, I guess it's an item, just space reasons, as Moo will pick himself up the Aegis, realizing he's often the one getting caught out by the Batrider. He's a prime target, and I think Lone Druid just about has his AC. Is that flying out? Yeah. So AC up on the Lone Druid. This is going to be a scary push to deal with if they try and push the high ground using the Aegis Necrobooks.
Yeah, and they can again just go for the attempted zero commitment push. Just get all the summons, put the Alacrity on the bear, chip away, get some damage. Maybe the bear dies, maybe it doesn't. You back off, you know, rinse, repeat. So it does really put the pressure on Vici Gaming to look for these initiations, and that puts all the pressure on RTK pretty much. Like, yes, FY can jump in. Yes, he has a Blink Dagger, but he is definitely the secondary initiator. Like, maybe if they time it right and they can see where the Vengeful Spirit is, then he can jump the VS at the same time as RTK jumps one of the cores. And so long as he, you know, hexes the VS and gets his finger off on somebody else, then he can go down knowing that he made sure that RTK's initiation worked out the way that it's supposed to.
Well, Newbee now, they're positioned as 5 this top lane. I think realizing there's one tier 2 tower left, they may as well make a little pit stop for the tier 2 before going for the high ground. And we've got plenty of time left on the Aegis and more items to be farmed, I guess. So we'll see what Vici Gaming have to say about this one. They've been working on an Assault Crest of their own on the Alchemist, but for now, it's Sylar trying to farm a Butterfly desperately, Alchemist trying to desperately get an Assault Crest. I think Vici Gaming are all about stalling here, because the later this goes, the better their lineup looks for an Alchemist, for a Luna. Even a hero like Batrider can get a lot scarier with a BKB on himself as well. Or maybe not even a BKB game. There isn't that much magic damage outside the Invoker, but he needs something beyond what he has now as far as items go to keep him alive and just maybe even give him a movement speed burst to engage into Newbee.
Yeah, and the later it goes, the easier it's going to be for them to be able to deal with the bear. So yeah, there's always that factor as well.
Alchemist could be in some trouble here. He's got nothing to use his stun on. Forced to pop a BKB. That's a worry. Batrider's there now as well. The arrow will be thrown. That's just going to cop out the BKB. Batrider's marching forward, but Super not going to be happy about that one.
Nice bear positioning from How. As soon as he saw the Batrider moving in, he just runs the Radiant straight at him and prevents the Blink Dagger.
And there's 2 Spirit Bears in this fight. So no BKB on Alchemist, 2 Spirit Bears. This is at least a tier 3 tower in my eyes going down, and they can just try and fully siege this. Get the Necrobooks out, use the Forward Spirits, and just start chipping away bit by bit on these Raxes. Arrow gonna hit RTK. That's not good. That's a huge disaster here. He's got buyback, which he'll immediately use. Stun gets thrown out onto the Lone Druid, which is not the hero you really want to be using that on. The Spirit Bear looks like it will go down. That's your first Spirit Bear. RTK, he's gone flying into this fight. He takes a ton of damage. Doesn't actually get a lasso off. Not the initiation that Vici Gaming were looking for, and Newbee just disengaged. They use the Moonlight Shadow to cover their retreat. They regroup, and they're good to go now, once again, ready for the Batrider to try coming on them, and they'll deal with this threat just fine.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Another arrow just skirts by RTK. This is a very sloppy high ground defense from Vici Gaming.
RTK is struggling, and it's like, you can't blame him too much. It is a real struggle trying to go into that Radiance. You're trying to make sure you get the Blink Lasso off, which isn't always going to be possible when you're getting just clipped by the Radiance damage. But well, you see another arrow go flying in just to scout things out. Rainthrax is guaranteed to fall. There's no glyph for this, and Spirit Bear doesn't have a resummon, I believe, and it looks like Vici Gaming trying to go in on that. They will get a lasso. That's onto Moo, but he's got an Aegis. He'll be coming back in just a second. Nice stun going out. There's decent damage here. There's going to be another stun onto Zhao Wei. Fish taking big damage here. The Solar Summon just goes flying through. They haven't killed anyone off yet. They've only lost the Batrider. Solar Summon goes through. Should have maybe gone for the Spirit Bear. Spirit Bear does go down. Kills off the Lone Druid as well in the process. Super's channeling a stun, but this is once again just going to stun himself up, and that's a bit of a pain in the ass for him. But hey, it's a hold. Vici Gaming just barely hold on to their melee racks here. They lose the range racks, but hold on to the more important one. Sylar now has a Butterfly, so they're still in this game, even if just barely.
Yeah, definitely not a. They cleaned it up a little bit after this initial after that initial arrow in RTK. I don't know if you saw that arrow, but it seemed like it was a bit odd.
Not.
Like it sort of clipped RTK in the side of his wing, and then that was it. So it was a bit of a strange one.
Well, that's considering that Moo had Aegis there. I think just losing a range Rex is a pretty good result. Because that range Rex getting chipped away at by summons by the Spirit Bear doesn't have any regen, so chances are you're likely to go down regardless. And for Vici Gaming, they're still in a position where they can fight, hold on to this game for now. And when they get their next couple of items up, like the Assault Crest for the Alchemist, it's only going to get a little bit easier. And that Assault Crest is now finished. Super's got an AC, so dealing with these summons and bursting them down, and bursting down the Spirit Bear especially, gets a whole lot easier. You said it, this Spirit Bear ultra late game is not that big of a problem, especially because it's capped out at 2.7k HP, has the 21 armor, but you can just be bursting it down all day long.
Yeah, and the Visage has his Aghanim Scepter up now as well, so... And this is even scarier, this game, I think, especially because of the AC and the Acid Spray. Like, we're talking about core heroes for Newbee just getting immediately wiped out by the triple birds.
And just having that triple stun also just gives you extra lockdown to deal with the Spirit Bear. If he's ever setting that Spirit Bear off deep, and even the right-click damage just on the Spirit Bear helps a lot, so... These triple familiars is going to be a big asset to Vici Gaming. But now they're solo pushing this top lane. At least a couple of them are, which I kind of like. Just having these familiars in different places on the map, using the just using them to pressure lanes. Although he does lose a couple of them. I think he's just about to resummon. So yeah, he's going to resummon with the Aghanim Scepter and get 3 more to go, and doesn't care about feeding a few at top lane.
Yeah, he could have maybe kept those two, run them in, got the stuns, resummoned, and then for the next fight. But I think the next fight isn't going to happen for a little while. I think Newbee may be considering just waiting around for Roshan. I mean, it could be a while, just because of the random respawn.
I think it's a pretty fast one. I saw the timer before. Like, there was a random timer that popped up, like, during, I don't know, just like a couple minutes ago that said 4 minutes 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be another fast Roshan respawn, if memory serves me right.
Yeah, I wonder why they have the digital pop-ups, because it makes me think that, okay, if we've only got 2 minutes of delay on the game, and to Dota TV, which is what, Valve have accepted as the delay, and then there are digital pop-ups that tell you when it is anyway, like, because the spawn time must be generated when it dies, right? The spawn time isn't being generated after 8 minutes. So that means that, in theory, I don't think anyone's ever done it necessarily, but if you had somebody just spectating off Dota TV, which they're entitled to do, then they could tell you exactly when Roshan's going to respawn, even before the 8-minute timer has elapsed, which to me seems a little bit off.
Now we're going to miss here is... We'll see Vici Gaming just managed to get back into their own base here.
Top barracks are under attack.
I don't think Newbee want to commit to this. Roshan is... We'll see exactly how long it's going to be in just a second now, as Newbee going to be positioned down the mid lane. So it's a minute and a half. It's a pretty... It's smack dab in the middle as far as respawn times go for Roshan.
Arrow gonna catch Super in the face, but he's gonna be fine. He's gonna regen back through, and Newbee trying to keep the pressure on, trying to keep these lanes pushed out, secure Roshan for themselves, but Vici Gaming are actually really good as far as keeping these lanes pushed out are concerned, and it's only a range tracks top, as you mentioned, so all they need to do is sort of get it past the river, and then they're fine as far as that's concerned. They could even just pick up some BOTs, say on the Batrider eventually, and he can just deal with that lane, BOT into the familiars, and it means that being down a lane of Rax for Vici Gaming isn't as big a deal.
Yeah, and you've got a Luna, who's one of the better heroes for just dealing with Rax out lanes anyway. Sala going to take pretty hefty damage here, but that arrow hits. That's the end of things there. But Luna's Butterfly is going to be somewhat negated by the MKB pickup on the Spirit Bear, but I still feel that's only a somewhat thing, because this Spirit Bear, if you're fighting the Luna, the Spirit Bear is going to be getting burst down very fast in these fights. So the evasion will help against the Enchantress Impetuses, against the Invoker right-clicks, against the Forward Spirits, against the Necrobooks. The Butterfly evasion is still great, and Butterfly on its own, the attack speed, the plus armor, everything else outside of the evasion you get is still well worth it for the Luna. So this MKB is not the end-all of solutions as far as dealing with Luna goes. Like, I feel like they need more than this. Although, I mean, the Spirit Bear is already pretty big, but like, it almost needs like a BKB on the Spirit Bear, I feel, at this point.
Yeah, I think this was not disciplined enough from Vici Gaming as far as how they dealt with this top lane. Like, they could have shoved it out 2 lanes and then started pushing down mid. But Roshan's respawns, top lane is constantly pressuring, and they're using the familiars to try and deal with it right now, but bot lane is also in a bad spot, and I think as soon as they get forced back for the lane, that might just be Roshan for free. For Newbee, we'll see. Maybe Vici will make a really bold play and just try and go for Roshan themselves, but they don't really have any wards to give them any idea of when Newbee are initiating themselves.
And they're trying to fake Roshan right now as it is. Newbee do not have vision. They can throw arrows in to try and get some vision, which we probably should see soon from Jowett. There we go. He's going to throw an arrow into the Roshan pit, just try and get a good idea of what's going on. Sunstrike actually snipes the Wild Wing. 82 gold. Count it, as Familiar's going to be pushing out top lane, but yeah. Bit of a stalemate around the Roshan pit. 9 kills apiece between the two teams, 37 minutes in. And, well, these two teams living up to the Chinese Dota legacy right now.
Roshan stalemate all day, every day.
Yeah. I swear, like, 9 out of 10 Roshan stalemates come in Chinese Dota games. And oh, this Moonlight Shadow. He's scouted out, or at least the Spirit Bear is scouted out. He's taking big damage here. He needs to get some spells off. Won't get a chance to do anything here. Visage also getting pushed out of the fight. Now Alchemist goes in. He gets a nice 2-hero stun with the Unstable Concoction. Flamebreak to follow. Kind of splits him up here. They're not really doing any damage to Newbee. Newbee's still all healthy, and now there's a couple heroes hitting the sidelines for Vici Gaming. Batrider getting low. He goes in with a lasso. He's pulled one. He's actually going to take down the Invoker as well as the Enchantress. Another multiple hero stun. This Spirit Bear is just doing work. Super going to go down as well. Oh, this Lone Druid Bear did not get dealt with well at all. Fenrir's trying to bring it down with some Solar, some right clicks. The Medallions plus Familiars doing decent work. They're doing a number on the Spirit Bear, but he can resummon this in just a second and will do so. He gets it back to him at base. ROTK somehow survived the entire fight on like 200 HP. I don't know how he did that, but the guy's a bit of a magician sometimes.
Yeah. Sylar spent his entire BKB duration wailing on the Spirit Bear. Like, Super got a 2-man stun, and he was going to work down at the bottom of the ramp, and Sylar here, sort of hitting the bear. And then he survived long enough after the BKB wore off, and did some good damage. But I don't know. I feel like that was a bit of misfocus fire coming out of him.
They kind of treat the Spirit Bear like a hero, and I think with good reason, but there's also like the Invoker who you've got to focus now. Now there's going to be a swap onto the Spirit Bear. That's going to keep it alive, but King J pays for it with his own life. The Spirit Bear not out of danger just yet. Still being chased down. It looks like the chase is off as Arrow gonna just barely miss Super. Sunstrike coming through. That's not going to bother them too much. And there's a lasso now. Marana, Zhao, Finger of Death. He drops the gem as well. The chase is on. Banana should be the next one to take a fall. Familiars are there. They've got no stun for a while. 4-stuff away from Banana. There's a 4-stuff blink into an Impale coming out onto Moo. He gets blown up. And the Enchantress on the high ground being chased down by ROTK. Flame Break is on cooldown. 5 seconds. Break that urn. No, the heals, as the urn is going to be taken off. The heal still coming into play, and Banana being chased down. The Untouchable making this such a tricky kill to get. Fenrir with a Solar something. That'll make things a bit easier. The slow coming out as well. Bambi, you can't run. That was your logs. Your legs being axed to pieces and just chopped off as Bambi could not go anywhere from Vici Gaming. And Vici Gaming have found a way to break through Newbee.
Yeah, it was really nice for them. The fight, was relatively even, but they just throw some buybacks into it and secure Roshan for themselves, and that was really the big play from Vici. And now they're wailing away at Newbee's racks.
I mean, you even called it ages ago. You said, look, if this game drags on, Fenrir in late game with Aghanim Scepter is going to do some work, and he did so much damage in that fight. These Familiars combined with all the auras they've got, the Assault Cuirass, the Acid.
They're just hitting tier 4s. Yeah. They killed the bear. They're just going for it.
Oh,
this is all in.
Well, Newbee's got everyone alive. There's a Blink Lasso. They're going to catch out the Vengeful Spirit, so no VS for you. If they kill this Spirit Bear, I don't think there's a resummon. This Spirit Bear may be the next focus fire. Sylar taking big damage. He's got Aegis, though. They're going to lose the Lone Druid. Lone Druid's dead. Even if he buys back, he's got no Spirit Bear resummon. He hasn't got the buyback anyways. Moon now, Deafening Blast, trying to keep these Raxes alive. Vici Gaming have just turned this game around in one fell swoop. They're going to take the throne. Newbee are going to be 2-0'd, and Vici Gaming are going to advance to the semifinals of the WVW tournament here in shocking fashion, I've got to say.
That was looking pretty good for Newbee. I have to admit, it was like
they had a gold lead at the end there. They were ahead by like 1k gold. Like 5 minutes ago, they were ahead by 8k gold. What happened? one bad fight and tipsy-turvy. Like, that wasn't even, like, it was a pretty bad fight. The pickoffs just kept on coming from the Batrider, but I don't even know exactly what went wrong there.
I think a lot of it in that last fight was that they Moonlight shadowed in, but Vici Gaming managed to take the high ground. Like there was
Yeah.
that little spot with the 2 ramps, and they had all 3 of their cores just sitting up on that, and all of Newbee were trapped down in the low ground. And not even so much about the mischance or anything like that, but just being able to disengage back out of the choke. Because at the end of that fight, I mean, Sylar was at like 200 HP for the longest time, and then
Yeah.
Vici Gaming also really heads up play from them. They saw how that fight panned out, and they just said, okay, we're going to buy back, we're going to go. This is our play. It was risky because Newbee, by the same token, could have had buybacks of their own and whatnot, but I think knowing that they got the bear didn't have a resummon and just really nice execution around the pit was what won the game for Vici Gaming.
And I think the other big thing is they had heroes who didn't scale that well the way the game went. Like VS and Enchantress. Like Enchantress especially wasn't doing all that much. The Vengeful Spirit, the swaps were nice, but end of the day, Vengeful Spirit's not doing any damage in a team fight. Compare that to Vici Gaming. Their 2 supports, Line and Visage, huge damage output guaranteed in a team fight. Enchantress can theoretically do damage if you get Impetuses off, but it wasn't really happening. Like Enchantress was just being taken out of these fights too damn fast. So I think Vici Gaming just had supports that offered a whole lot more the later the game went. Even a hero like Mirana, like Zhao 8 this game, I feel his impact and damage output was just really unimpressive. And just not so much by any fault of his own. He was 1-1-7 at the end of the day, but Mirana's just not a high impact hero in team fights until you get really farmed.
Yeah, I wonder if, because we mentioned at the start of the game there were 2 ways for Newbee to play the early game advantage. They could either go, the one end of the spectrum was to go really in on that early lead, the mech, the Necrobook, start pushing. I said Vlad's and Maelstrom on the Lone Druids are pretty much all in. And then the other option was to go double Midas, minimize the impact of the Enchantress, just aim for the late game with the Tricore. And they went for something a little bit more middle of the road. It was the Midas into Radiance, but the Invokers still went for all of the early to mid game items. And you kind of wonder if that ran perfectly into Vici Gaming's timing as far as defending the high ground was concerned. Maybe they could have tried to end it a little bit earlier. They could have maybe tried to drag it on a little bit later. So that would be, but that's like Captain Hindsight, of course.
Yeah, that does it for not all of today's WVW match. That does it for like part 1 of the Asian Dota evening. The Asian Dota is always split up into 2 parts. You have your early afternoon stuff, then you have your dinner break for 2 to 3 hours, and you come back. So there's one match going on for the Summit Asia qualifiers, Tongfu up against CIS, which is over on Beyond the Summit 2, guys, so you should head on over there to check it out. But after that, there's like a 2-3 hour break, so there's more Dota 2 action coming your way later tonight. The semi-final between... who's playing? Vici Gaming and Talent will be going down later on tonight, as well as more qualifiers for the Summit Asia, as well as the inaugural Grand Finals, Titan vs Scythe Singapore in a best of 5, so... lots of Dota 2 action coming your way. There's a couple hours break apart from the one best of 1 going on over on BTS 2. But Baseskip, big thanks for joining me as always. Where can people follow, support you, and give you all your feedback?
All right. So obviously, thanks for having me, Gods. If anybody wants to
problem.
leave me any feedback on my co-casting, you can email me baseskipdota@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'm on all the usual social media stuff under the name of Baseskip. So if people want to check out what I'm doing, that's the best spot.
Cool. Random unrelated question. How did your team do in defense of the Australian?
So we won our round of 8 upper bracket match 2-0. That was yesterday. So
Nice.
we are 1 round away from making it to the LAN.
Do you know who you're going to be
getting
versing
flight.
in that round?
We will likely be playing against Avant-Garde, assuming that they win their match in the previous round. So that'll be that'll be pretty big. Yeah, well, yeah, got to play against D4D. We have a reasonable record against them in scrims, so I think we're in with a chance. And even if we lose that best of 3, then we drop straight down to the lower bracket and we play another best of 3. And if we win that, then we're still top 4 and we still get to go to the LAN. So we have to win one of our next 2 best of 3s to make it. Yeah, it's nice.
That's good stuff, man. Well, anyways, guys on the stream, you can obviously follow if you're interested in the Australian scene. You can follow the defense of the Australians. But for now, we're going to be taking a bit of a break for a couple of hours, at least here on the Beyond the Summit 1 stream. The inaugural Grand Finals will be here live in 3 hours' time. And then we've got the Chinese, the pre-qualifiers for the Summit going on over on BTS2. So heading over there, Zayori is casting some games. But for now, guys, we'll see you guys later. We're done for today. Catch y'all later.